Hello. Hello and welcome. I'm just slowly welcoming everyone to the call as we have a lot of people registered for today's webinar. I want to give everyone a moment to join us. Now, numbers are still ticking up, but time is precious. So I will welcome all of you once again to another online presentation from Biometric Update. We discuss the hot topics and going issues in biometrics and digital identity. Today, we're going to be talking about choosing the right identity verification platform in a rapidly changing market. We'll be doing so through the lens of the 2025 Digital Identity Verification Market Report and Buyer's Guide from Biometric Update and Good Intelligence. And in doing so, we'll take a snapshot of the state of the art as we begin the new year. We are recording this presentation so that we can share it with you afterwards in an email that will allow you to watch any parts that you missed or run through it again. The email will also give you a way to get in touch with each of the IDV technology providers who are with us on the panel today. More on them in a moment. If you are signed up to be here, you will get that email soon. We'll have time for a brief audience Q&A at the end of our presentation today. So please use the bottom that you'll find towards the bottom of your Zoom screen to ask panelists about their experiences fighting fraud as you have them. Ask during the presentation, at the end as we're discussing, ask away anytime and we will get to your questions at the end. So joining me in this discussion, we have world-leading biometrics market analyst Alan Good, founder and lead analyst at Good Intelligence and co-author of the report. How are you today, Alan?
I'm very good. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And we also have with us executives from 5 of the leading providers in the identity verification market. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Ronald Molinar, commercial lead at Forensics. Hello,
Hi,
Ronald.
everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for joining us, Ronald. We have also Owen Mulligan, Director of Product Management at Daon. Hello, Owen.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. And we have Paul Bickley, Director of Commercial and Growth at Authsignal. Hello, Paul.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
Great to have you as well. We have with us Victor Bielko, Product Manager at Innovatrics. Hello, Victor.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here.
Great to have this group with us. And the last member of our panel today is Emily Hyatt, Group Product Manager at Yoti. Hello, Emily.
Hi, nice to see you, everyone.
Great to have you all with us today. We are going to be hearing from each of those panelists. They're all going to show us some of the technology that they're bringing to this market and talk a little bit about how they are helping organizations, hopefully just like yours, solve the kind of challenges that you're experiencing on a daily basis. Before we get to those, I'd like to quickly review the report and the landscape it covers, which I'll do partly myself and then turn things over to Alan. The purpose of the report is really to inform organizations that need to verify their users' identities remotely and therefore digitally. In the parlance of the industry, these customers of IDV technology are called relying parties. So many of you who are here today are among them. The market report and buyer's guide is written primarily for them, but as we will discuss today, the identity verification ecosystem is increasingly complex, and so we hope the report is helpful for players throughout the ecosystem as well. The market report starts off with a quick 101, which we'll skip today, and then reviews the evolving standards, tests, and certifications available. I will come back to those in a moment. The report analyzes the key drivers and segments within the market, which Alan will speak to, and it presents his forecast for the market's growth. We offer a buyer's guide, tips for what to look for in a supplier, case studies, and profiles of dozens of vendors of technology in this space, including the 5 that are on the call today. Threats to identity verification have changed dramatically over the past few years, as I'm sure all of you are aware. In part, this is because of the popularity of accessing bank accounts, interacting with public services, etc. online, which has really changed dramatically over the last decade, obviously. But the new arrival or elephant in the room, we might say, is AI. Deepfakes, which are typically delivered through injection attacks, are well known. Slightly less well understood, I would say, at this point, is how AI has made things like presentation attacks, your more traditional spoofing attacks, or what are often referred to as cheap fakes, much easier attacks to carry out and to scale up to huge volumes. Standards addressing those threats do exist, and more are coming, but they're at different stages for different things. ISO and IEC have standards for presentation attack detection, cybersecurity, biometric data quality, and other things, but not injection attack detection, at least not in a completed form as of yet. There is a European standard for that, though. As for digital identity itself, the US National Institute of Standards and Technology puts out standards for digital identity itself, for identity verification. And then we have groups like the FIDO Alliance that offers standards for identity, that offers identity verification certification for technology within its ecosystem. The report lays out what these different standards are and how they all fit together. So I would encourage all of you to give it a read. It is free, by the way. Worth mentioning. So with this landscape in mind, we offer guidance on 12 factors to consider when selecting an identity verification supplier. Cost, the speed and accuracy of the technology, the independent verification of the technology's effectiveness are all important, and we have specific recommendations on each. Given the difference between how quickly fraud and technology standards change, you need a proactive developer. Deepfake detection is now a necessity. Bias has to be avoided. A couple of really thorny technical challenges there. Reusable IDV is coming, and you will want to be ready. What other signals can you use in making identity decisions? How do you make sure the system doesn't get hacked? There are user experience, privacy, and data protection compliance considerations, and how software is orchestrated and integrated is another key concern. Again, each of those are related in greater detail within the report. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Alan to share some of the highlights from the market analysis portion of the report. Please take it away, Alan.
Thank you, Chris, and hello, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. I've got a small amount of slides to show from the beginning. And what I'll also do, in interests of keeping it nice and brief, because we've got a lot of excellent kind of suppliers that are kind of lined up to give you a taste of their products and solutions. So I shall be as brief as I can. So the presentation pulls out from the report a number of sections from it, mainly the market orientation and growth from it. But a lot of the material and forecasts are taken from a report we published in June last year, looking at the market for identity verification products and services. It's the third edition of the report. So we've been covering this area since 2015, over 10 years now. And we've kind of been looking at the transformation that we're seeing in this market. And it's been quite significant over the last 10 years. You can view that report by looking at the QR code on screen there. But moving on, we've key drivers for the adoption of identity verification, including compliance, a big one. It's the big stick, really. AML and KYC is a key driver for the adoption of IDV, fraud detection and prevention. And what we're seeing is this kind of integration into workflow, the automation of the onboarding process, and these solutions and technologies being closely aligned to that kind of workflow, the orchestration layer, as you may call it. And customer experience, very important in today's digital first world. Customer experience is key in delivering compelling digital services, ensuring that modern IDV services fit into customer workflow processes is a critical consideration, especially in the first mile of customer experience. And enabling remote digital onboarding, the ability to support digital onboarding with robust, accurate, compliant, and secure solutions is a must-have for service providers. Key sectors that we've identified, six there, obvious being banking, travel and hospitality, where we're seeing a lot of work in this digital identity and supporting the kind of the couch to gate experience there. And what we're seeing in that sector is a big adoption of kind of digital identity as well. So having portable digital identity to enable travelers to move within the travel centers, and then to do a lot of onboarding and the experience upfront remotely. Gambling, government, many digital identity programs and initiatives around the world, different flavors, and they kind of match the culture of that particular country. Centralized, decentralized, use of portable digital identity, verified credentials and wallets is a big one in that area. Telecom, and then workforce in terms of, again, supporting that onboarding for new employees, integration into HR systems, etc., is very, very important. Important applications, as you can read on the screen there, for IDV. The onboarding account registration has been key for the growth in this industry, and it serves a really good purpose in enabling people to remotely onboard onto digital services without the need to go into an office or to do it at a bank branch, etc. And we're seeing kind of applications for employment screening, government services, the drive for digital transformation within government, and also moving into kind of transactional kind of services as well. So with financial services, not just for digital onboarding, but for things like, and this is the integration with kind of like authentication as well, and fraud systems. There's perhaps some spurious activity on an account, then you may want to re-enroll or re-identify that person instead of just relying on an authentication mechanism. So we're seeing that movement into the transactional aspects of financial services, as well as onboarding and account opening. Company registration here in the UK, there's been legislation which, as a company director myself, will have to kind of partake in terms of identifying myself, because there has been a lot of fraud in people registering companies in fraudulent names and using synthetic IDs. So that's an interesting area, I think, for growth in the next couple of years, and for supporting digital signatures. So in terms of what we're seeing with the EU, with the IDAS, and also with the European Digital Identity Wallet, that kind of movement of using identity verification as the beginning of the process for providing a digital signature. Is it me? Is it Alan Good that is providing signing a document, a contract, etc.? So they need to verify my identity for that. Just a very, very quick finish on forecasts. This is a very difficult area to forecast. It's changing weekly, monthly. But what we believe in is that total identity verification checks will exceed 15 billion annually by 2027. So a lot of growth, which is good news for the industry. So now I'd like to hand back to Chris, and then we can continue with the presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Alan. That's really great, and gives a flavor of the breadth and the depth of the issue. How broadly applicable it is, that tremendous growth, and also some of the challenges that go along with the space. So with that, I would like to start calling on our technology providers to share what they've brought to the table. So, Ronald, can you please start us off and share with us some details about what Oz Forensics can bring to the table to help organizations with their identity verification?
Yes, thanks, Chris. Let me share my screen first.
Perfect.
You can see my screen? Yes?
Yep. Looks good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Ronald from Oz Forensics. I'm part of the commercial team, and I'm based out of Jakarta, Indonesia. So over the next few minutes, I'd like to share with you a little bit information about our company, Oz Forensics, as well as how we are helping customers worldwide to protect against identity fraud. At the end, also I have a video of a small demo of our solution with three different scenarios. So without wasting any time, let me start. Actually, who is Oz Forensics? So Oz Forensics is a world-leading liveness detection provider. So we protect digital identity against deepfakes, and we're powering secure onboarding and authentication. Let me highlight here that all we do at Oz is liveness detection. We don't provide any other solution. Every single person in the company is really focused on liveness detection. So if I just pull out a number of data from various sources, you can see the impact of deepfake attacks over the last 3 years. In terms of percentage, this has increased by more than 2,000% over the last 3 years. So that's really massive. And if you look at the companies, like 90% of the companies, they've faced any takeover attempts in 2024 alone. So you can really see the impact of this deepfake. Also, you can imagine that if a company has deployed like liveness detection maybe 2-3 years ago, and with all these number of new attacks coming up, they might be thinking now like is my current deployed solution, can it actually detect the latest deepfake attacks? So that's why you see that an increasing number of companies worldwide is considering to deploy a new solution for liveness detection. If we look at our own experience in our own company, you can see on the left side, in 2025 alone, we have avoided 500,000 attacks by our engine. So 500,000, you can imagine that's like more than 40,000 attacks happening per month. So again, you can see how massive these deepfake frauds are. And of course, I think it was mentioned earlier by Chris as well. It's all about injection, video language models. Nowadays, these groups of fraudsters, they've been using very specialized software to inject videos into both iOS and Android. And even within 6 months, we've identified more than 10 different injection tools globally, which is providing security against more than 15 plus quality video generators. So again, this is, from our own experience, just want to highlight that it's really massive attacks going on. And even looking forward, we still see a number of new attacks coming in 2026 and 2027. So just a little bit on Oz Forensics. So we're a global company. In terms of transactions, we do about 1.5 billion transactions per year for our 60 plus clients. And our customers are active in about 20 countries worldwide. So acting on a global scale, we're part of Unico Group, one of the largest identity companies. Of course, for a company like us, where we only focus on liveness detection, it's all about innovation for us. Our head office is actually based in Dubai, but we have various global offices throughout the world. So if I look at this slide, this is really what Forensics is about and what we try to achieve and what we want to give to our customers. The first pillar, it's all about security, maximum security, which we want to give to our customers. On the other hand, of course, we want to make sure that our customers will still be able to give the best user experience to their customers and make sure that the conversion rate is still very high. And that all, on a flexible deployment, whether it's on-prem, whether it's SaaS, we're very flexible. In terms of maximum security, of course, false acceptance rate is 0%, and we have various certifications for both presentation as well as injection and deepfake attacks. In terms of the user experience, capture time should be less than 2 seconds, and then 97% of conversion on first attempt. Also, very interestingly, we have up to 2 times lower false rejection rates compared to other tier vendors. So let me quickly show you a demo. This is our web screen. So in this first scenario, I'm going for passive liveness, so just a simple selfie. So you can see it's opening up the camera, my face is there, and then it will analyze, it will upload the data and analyze, and then it will give the result whether I'm a real person or not. In this case, you can see success, so I'm a real person. So the next scenario, we'll use active liveness. So in this case, I'll have option of turning my head to the right. So again, you can see the same screen. You'll see my face, and then I'll turn to the right. After that, it will upload the data. It will give analysis, and then it will show that I'm, this is successful, that I'm a real person in this case, which you will see in a second. And then, yeah, you can see here. And then the last one, quick one, I'll be using a mask. You can see here, I'll be using a mask, trying to bypass the liveness detection. But then, as it's loading the data and it's analyzing the data, you will see that it will reject. Here you can see it's been declined. Yeah. So this just very briefly to give you a look and feel of our solution. And then maybe my last slide. Just want to highlight this. Why this? I think this is critical. This is one of our customers, Unico, which is one of the world's largest identity validation network. They're serving 200 customers. They have like 100 million monthly biometric transactions. And what is interesting here is that, as you might know, that if you look at the level of attacks, fraudster attacks happening, we see that normally the most sophisticated attacks are starting in Latin America, and from there slowly moving to other parts of the world. So what we want to offer our customers that, we don't want them only to be ready for fraud attacks happening now, but we want them to be ready for future fraudster attacks, which are going to happen. We want to make sure they are covered there. With that, I think I've run out of time already. So I would like to give it back to Chris. Thank you for your attention this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ronald. That was great, and point very well taken about the dynamism of threats, and as I referred to in the opening, liveness detection a decade ago was something new and nice. It wasn't table stakes the same way that it absolutely is now. So that's terrific. Thanks. I would like to hand things over to Owen at this point to share what Daon has brought to show us to help with our identity verifications.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And thank you, Ronald. Pleasure to speak to you all today. My name is Owen Mulligan, the Director of Product here in Daon. To tell you a little bit about Daon, Daon is an identity verification and authentication company that operates in all of the major markets around the world. Our customers typically look like large financial institutions, blue chip companies who want to create trust between themselves and their end users. And that's what we specialize in. We were recently in 2025 in the leaders section of the Gartner Magic Quadrant for identity verification. And a lot of our learnings that we get from working very closely with customers in regions all across the world are fed directly into our product and are represented today in what I'm going to talk about and discuss. I'll share my screen in a moment and in the interest of time, give a very brief demonstration of our front-end experience, and then talk a little bit about all of those key considerations and elements which are taking place in the background to make that front-end user experience look seamless and easy, but strike the balance between user experience and security as well. So bear with me and I'll share my screen. Great. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to create a secure token here in which I can launch an identity verification journey. And this initial identity verification journey will open on my desktop. I want to also utilize my mobile device for verification today. And you can see here I have some basic demonstration elements for an out-of-the-box flow. Everything that you see on this screen is configurable and customizable because every customer that we have has their own design system and design pattern, their own language in which they like to communicate and talk to their end users. So let me get started here by clicking. And then my screen has disappeared, but I'll grab it again and you should be able to see my camera open. And then I'm going to scan the QR code to hand over to my mobile device. So you can see here that I have the consent step. I'm very happy to capture my biometrics in this case. And then I'll get some instruction, again, customizable and configurable around the passive liveness capture that I'm going to undertake now. So you can see here my camera will open. I'll position my face within the frame. So this is a passive variation of the identity or of the liveness flow. It's ensuring that I am a real live person, that I'm not a video, that I'm not an injection attack, that I'm not wearing a mask or a 4D representation trying to fool the system. So you can see in this case, the capture is completed and successful. But I'll move on to the identity document capture flow. So we specialize and are proven at scale in capturing documents from all the major markets around the world. In this case, I'm going to use a document from the United States. I'll make the selection here on the screen, and I'll capture a driver's license. Again, I receive that contextually relevant instruction step. And then here, I hold a Virginia driver's license in front of the camera, and you can see that the capture takes place. And we are making assessments. So actually what I've done here in this capture is utilized a composite identity document, which is a really popular fraud vector that we see in production with our customers. So this identity document that we can see here is a composite of myself and my colleagues' Virginia driver's licenses. So it's my face and information on the template of his document. So this is what we see happen with fraudsters in the market today. It is typically the path of least resistance that they are taking. They're utilizing real documents, they're altering them, doctoring them, and presenting them as true identity documents. This is what it is key to protect against, and this is what the market is moving very quickly in terms of what's possible when it comes to the utilization of AI to make these composite documents. It's critically important then that we see and assess identity verification solutions as able to keep up with the pace of change that's taking place for document fraud. I'll move over now and look at some of the elements that we bring to the market. Let me just make that full screen. And this kind of displays some of the key considerations here when it does eventually come up. As to considerations that need to be made when implementing an identity verification solution. So our solution allows for identity flows to be completely tailored and configured to our customers' needs. So whether that be jurisdiction requirements, regulatory requirements, fraud vectors that are more prevalent and more closely seen, and they can all be dragged and dropped in and utilized in the creation of a bespoke flow. Therefore, that ease of creation also leads to then making it very simple to maintain and deploy. So when our research teams make advancements in the algorithms that we use to detect fraud, you can quickly and easily make changes to your identity verification flow and protect against that in production. And the last thing that I'll mention then is our utilization of watch lists as fraud prevention techniques. So we maintain face watch lists of faces that have been previously seen before, and they can be implemented and can be used as a strong protection. And more so than just face watch lists, we can also implement identity document watch lists too. So has this identity document been seen before? And that is proving to be extremely effective in production when preventing against fraud attacks. And in the interest of time, I'll stop there and thank you for that. I'll hand back to Chris.
Thanks, Owen. That's perfect. And for those of you following along on your bingo cards, you will have checked off several of the items that I mentioned earlier. I want to just reiterate the fake IDs. That was the exact example, or one of the exact examples that I was referring to at the beginning about how, we hear about scary injection attacks where a fancy AI deep fake is delivered. A lot of fraud is not that, is exactly these spoofed IDs that are just more sophisticated and easier to make, etc. So that's great. Thank you, Owen. I would like to pass things over to Paul at this point to share what Authsignal's been working on and how Authsignal can help with your identity verification needs. Paul.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. I'm just going to share my screen and then I'll kick off. So just bear with me for a second here. I'm just having some technical issues. Apologies. Here we go.
Perfect.
So Authsignal is a digital identity platform that's focused on consumer identity verification and authentication. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about our platform and what we focus on. And also I'll walk through a use case for a customer account recovery using an IDV flow. So one of the core pillars of our platform is really about optimizing customer identification and authentication flows. And there are many different places that you can drop these into very simply. And one of the things that we often see and we're starting to see more of is about being able to deliver IDV flows and verification flows in key places like onboarding, high-risk dormant accounts, and used in other places like account recovery flows for employee verification, or potentially in contact centers where you have inbound calls and you need to be able to really verify identity seamlessly. And so Authsignal makes identity verification very simple and seamless by integrating with a number of different vendors and not just one particular identity verification solution. And the core pillar of our platform is being able to orchestrate the customer authentication and verification journey that takes place, and being able to drop in that particular verification request at any point across any customer channel at the right time for your end users. And so as a part of what we are able to orchestrate with our platform is being able to ingest different signals that can complement your IDV flow to enable you to deliver the right signal and the right authentication request at the right time. So based on risk or custom data points, you can then check and push a customer into an identity verification flow very seamlessly. And so as a core part of our platform, we've started to see more and more customers rely on biometric authentication, and not just for onboarding, but for re-authentication flows as well. So we're able to use existing documents, employee records or passports or driver's licenses, and trigger re-authentication flows to enable account recovery and other use cases. So I'll just quickly now share my use case flow. So just checking we can see this screen. Great. So what I'm presenting now is a account recovery flow from a contact center standpoint. And this use case would be where an employee or a customer has been locked out of their account, And the simplest and most effective way to ensure account recovery without relying on knowledge-based questions or exposing ourselves to things like social engineering attacks is to push a customer into a selfie identity verification flow. So what you're looking at is a ServiceNow integration with our platform. And this is an agent ticket that has been created. And so I'm just going to walk you through this flow. So we can initiate a ticket, and then on the right here, we can go to the customer verification flow. This triggers an authentication request to the user's, like end user's mobile device. And you can see here on the right-hand side, they're now being pushed into an authentication flow using our integration with Verif at this stage. So you can see it's going to open up a window. We're going to upload a document. And then we're going to take a selfie. Once this is successfully completed, the result will be returned to the customer service agent. And the customer service agent will then be able to verify the customer's identity and continue on with the account recovery flow, or in other use cases, continue to serve the customer. So we enable the different levels of assurance right the way through from customer verification to passkeys and biometric authentication. And based on the user requirements, we can deliver the right authentication method into the business's use case. So considering time, I'll hand it back there to Chris.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Paul. That's it's a great illustration of the sort of orchestration consideration that I mentioned at the beginning, and that Owen also touched on. So we're seeing, so orchestration and the nuance of liveness is a couple of, quickly emerging themes here. So yeah, thanks again, Paul. I'd like to hand it over to Victor to tell us what he's brought from the Innovatrics software stack to share for identity verification.
Thanks, Chris. Innovatrics is in the biometrics business for over 20 years, and the last 8 years we are developing the technology used in identity verification, and we develop it in-house. We offer our IDV globally, both as a toolkit and as a service. These options provide the customizability of the integration and provide the customer with the possibility to control the data privacy. I will now demonstrate the user verification flow with our mobile application. We designed our IDV done in under a minute. Therefore, we put a lot of focus on our capture components. These capture the image with the best quality and provide the user with actionable feedback. But they not only provide a good user experience, they are also important part of the injection attack detection, which is the most occurring type of fraud nowadays. They collect data about the camera and the environment and send them to the server in a secure way. By ensuring that the image is captured with a real camera, and at that moment, it also prevents deepfakes in addition to the other vision AI model used. We provide our own IDV OCR, and as we have customers around the world, we support also non-Latin scripts for Middle East and Asia. Next is the face capture for passive liveness. Our passive liveness is iBeta certified. We train our liveness models for all the ethnicities, as we have customers all over the world. Therefore, we rank high in the fairness metric of the NIST face evaluation technology. Also, the accuracy of our face one-to-one verification ranks among the top 10 in the NIST, and the results of the identity verification are returned from the server in less than 7 seconds. We provide also a back office auditing tool where all the data are stored, and it's possible to inspect all the checks that were part of the identity verification. So this was just a quick demo. The application is available in both app stores, so you can try it yourself. Lastly, I would like to mention that at Innovatrics, we work closely with our partners, providing them hands-on expert support, and we tailor the identity verification to suit their needs. This also helps to improve our product by getting a real-world feedback. I think this is one of the reasons why we were successful in deploying more than 600 projects in 80 countries, and some 1 billion users have been processed by the Innovatrics technology. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Victor. And yeah, I'm glad that you raised the subject of auditability. Also very important, right, for a number of, any use case that it touches on compliance, and of course important for fraud considerations as well. I also want to thank you, Victor. I know it's very late after regular office hours for you right now, so thanks again for that. Yeah, and Victor's going to be staying with us for a few more minutes. We've got a couple of questions rolling in, so I'd like to, again, encourage all of you on the call to keep asking those questions. And in the meantime, I will turn things over to Emily to share what she's brought from Yoti to help you solve your identity verification challenges. Emily.
Brilliant, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm Group Product Manager at Yoti. So I'll just explain a little bit about Yoti, who we are. So we started back in 2014, creating a free consumer app that puts your ID on your phone. And really privacy is at the heart of what we do. So we give individuals a safe way to share their personal details and information with businesses. And to date, we've got over, I think, nearly 21 million downloads of the app around the world, and we do 1 billion age estimation checks every day, or 1 billion age estimation checks in total, and we do around 1 million every day. And so I'll talk through a little bit about what we do within our IDV products. Very similar to a lot of the demos that you've had already today, but again, it's very customizable, our flows, so you can decide whether you want to have a fully automated flow, or if you'd rather have if you're looking for a higher level of verification as the backup, then we also provide 24/7 security center support. We have a load of different options in terms of SDK, API, no code portals if you're don't necessarily have a larger tech arm within your business, to be able to set this all up. And I'll show you the flow that we go through. Again, it's very similar to what you've already seen. But again, we have a lot of teams working within our fraud department to make sure that we're, on top of any injection attack detection. Within our liveness, we do our age estimation as well, to make sure that all matches through. So let me give you a quick demo now. And again, if you want to have a look at any of our other products and have a play yourself, we have a demo site called yoti.world, so feel free to go in. If you actually get the app as well, you can use it within your own Yoti or just with our IDV flows, but that's fun if you have a little play around there. I'll show you just the IDV demo now, so I've just got this video ready to go already. But so essentially this is just a setup bank. So here, let me start again. So here you can say scan your document. Again, it's up to the user to select what document they want to use. And I think it's worth saying as well that at the moment, one of the things that we're building in our roadmap is being able to use MDLs or EIDs, so that rather than having a physical ID and having to either scan it or perform a chip read, depending on what workflow you're looking at. Because of the EIDs and MDLs being cryptographically secure and encrypted, then they're just able to reach that higher level of verification. So that's something that we're working on at the moment and are hoping to release soon. But here the user would select what document they want to use. And again, depending on whether you want them to complete this on the web or on their phone, they can get handed off to the phone like through a QR code, as you've seen in some of the demos already. This again is just showing that it's all gone through successfully. We then explain around what the liveness is and capture a liveness from the user, and have that we both have active and passive options as well, depending on what the customer and relying party would want. And then it's just that's all completed and it goes back to the original use case, here being a bank. So it's really quick and simple, very much easy for the user to do. We make sure that we've got a load of options available so that if they want to complete this on the web, on the phone, and either with physical or potentially e-IDs as well. So yeah, keeping it short and sweet for everyone here. I'll hand back to you, Chris.
That's fantastic, Emily. Thanks very much. And I'm glad that you mentioned the MDLs and the EIDs. Those are the reusable digital identities. For some of you on the call, I'm sure you already have them. Some are queuing up to get them. Some of us are wondering when our government will get its act together and start at least working on issuing these things, because it's coming everywhere. And frankly, if the government doesn't do it, then someone else is going to do it. And that's a dynamic we're seeing in the market as well. So I'm really glad that you raised that point, Emily. We've had a number of questions, so I'd like to thank all of you who have shared your comments and questions. Several of them have been answered, given typed answers, which you can see actually through the same Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen there. But I would like to quickly, before we wrap up, cover a few of the remaining questions here, some really interesting points. We've got one in an exchange between Ian and Owen. There was a little bit of a typed back and forth, and Ian is making the point that it's important, increasingly important, that suppliers give relying parties assurance that their solution can meet digital threats. But it's also important in a specialized technical environment to be able to translate what's going on into non-technical speak. And so I just wanted to throw that out. Does anyone want to chime in on that issue of communicating with relying parties and helping them maybe communicate with their customers? Anyone have anything to throw in on that topic? Yeah, we're all on the same page then, I guess.
I'd be very happy to
go ahead, please, Owen.
If I may, thank you. It's a super point, and I think it's really important to probably everybody that's on this call. The advancements that are taking place in terms of the fraud that we see in the market are becoming more and more technical, and our customers and the customers of everybody here certainly still have a strong view on balancing security and conversion. So it's critical for any identity verification provider or authentication provider to be able to translate what is very technical protections and communicate how those balance that user experience and security element. And that's why I think that not only is the technical solution important, but also the people in the working relationship, the close working relationship, the understanding, the information sharing is just as important as many of the other factors that are under consideration during an assessment of an identity verification provider.
Yeah, agreed. A good point. Another question that was raised here is that while there are a lot of standards related to things like PAD, IAD, injection attack detection, there is a European standard. The ISO's working on it, ISO/IEC. but we have a question here. Kenny asks if there are similar standards covering device fingerprinting, given that this seems to be an increasingly important element in the fight against fraud. I think we would all agree that that is an important element. So yeah, does anyone want to speak to standards and device fingerprinting? Any thoughts on that topic from the panel? I mean, I would
Yep.
say that, yep.
Yeah, I don't know about any. We are working, or we are implementing the device fingerprinting when we are identifying whether the environment where the ID verification is happening is reliable or not. But we're not aware about any standards in this area.
Yeah, Alan, you're not.
No,
None.
I haven't come across it. You know,
I haven't either.
we're
No.
really talking about risk management here, and that really is very specific. It's the context for each relying part, you know, and providers. So it's really specific about what part of that fingerprint solution you choose to decide to implement, really, and depending on your risk profile and you know and the regulation, etc. So I haven't come across anything in that area.
So in that
Chris, if I
sense,
can add to that.
oh, please do. Yes. Thanks, Paul.
And to Alan's point, you know, it is about risk management and being able to derive the relationships from different devices and different, um, identities that come into play into your pipeline, be it onboarding or recovery. And I think this is where being able to orchestrate a particular outcome for the user at the time is critical. And so device fingerprinting, relationship, and other risk signals, and being able to combine them into a fraud approach will really help with your onboarding of trusted users versus someone that's a bad actor.
Good point.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, to Alan's earlier point, as well, I think we could see where device fingerprinting will brush up against other standards in other areas, maybe in terms of what the criteria is for, for level of assurance, for instance. You could draw on something like that. But I mean, this conversation makes me wonder if there's an area where the industry could maybe get together and improve clarity about what really is happening, what should be happening.
I think just to add to that, I think the only probably area where there is some sort of standardization and is with the GSMAs. So anything that is coming out of that mobile phone, anything that's coming from the mobile operator infrastructure, then the GSMA, has a lot of working groups and standards related to the assurance of data coming out of the mobile network operator environment.
Right. Excellent point, Alan. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, we've just got a few minutes left, so I'd like to continue moving on here. We've got a question from Simon, or a comment, I guess, but I think it's worth calling out. He says, many talking around the subject of foundational ID, which revolves around a real human and a real biometric being taken in a trusted environment to really be important. This is really important going forward. So, I mean, you have an identity document that is providing the foundational ID. We've already discussed a little bit the challenge of ensuring that these things are real as issued. But how do we know when they're issued that they're real? And so I just want to throw it out to the panel. Would anybody like to pick up on that point about the potential vulnerability of foundational ID, and how do we help our customers deal with this very thorny challenge where the problem is coming way at the beginning of the process? Any thoughts? I mean, I know in the context, for instance, of issuing ID documents in the EU, there are projects right now looking at things like face morphing, which is a problem where individuals are essentially tampering with the issue or they're inserting spoofs into the issuance process that allow them to use or multiple people to use the same photo or ID. And so I mean I can certainly tell you that people within the industry are working on this problem that Simon refers to, but it seems that it is going to continue to be a challenge going forward. So let's go to a comment from or a question here from Ellery. According to the AATT of Australia, this would be the Age Assurance Technology Trial. So this is an attribute verification rather than an identity verification per se. But they did this trial and found the facial estimation on people like Aboriginal people is still sometimes going wrong. So this is the bias issue I mentioned at the beginning. How can this problem be solved? I guess I would throw that out to anyone on the panel to talk about a little bit about what their company is doing to address this issue. Really raised about 8 years ago, really became very widely known and much discussed. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that I've seen measures from each of the providers on the call to deal with this. So yeah, Victor, do you want to say something?
Yes. As I mentioned, we are targeting the fairness metric with very high importance, as we have customers in many third world countries, and therefore we always need to collect the training data sets for biometrics from these regions. We have methods how to involve volunteers from all these countries and to reward them to provide the training material. And we are balancing our data sets to have equal representation of each ethnicity and age group. So this is the way we are ensuring that our biometrics have fairness and there is no bias against any ethnicity.
Perfect. Thank you, Victor. Yeah, that training data point, very important. A lot of work has gone on, and that we've finally got evaluations, including the AATT, that are kind of shedding light on the progress that has been made in this area. And I think we're all hoping to see that just continue as we go forward. We have run out of time. Popular topic, no surprise. We have a few questions here remaining. I'm going to, encourage everyone who is watching today and listening to reach out with your questions to the panelists. Feel free to continue the conversation after the presentation. I really want to thank all of our panelists for joining. And everyone who asked questions as well. I do also want to just briefly mention that the email you're about to get will also include a link to the report that Alan and I worked on for identity verification. So yeah, once again, it's been a very active, very busy presentation, and no surprise there. This will continue to be a topic that gets a lot of attention as it continues to evolve and the landscape continues to change. So we will probably revisit it again another time soon. So I hope to see you all back again when we do that. Thanks again, and until next time, stay safe and have fun. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.